Hello, this is Bob Gray Sr. Welcome to Ministry Moments. Lord willing, every Friday, 4 o'clock Eastern Time, we'll spend together. Go to Ministry Moments YouTube, Bob Gray Sr., and subscribe and tell your friends about it. And it's not a sermon. I'm going to preach every week, but I do want to take truths from incidences and questions that have been asked me as I do travel and do preach and teach around the country. And so I want to give back that which God has given me and through the influences, whatever they may be, good or bad. But so today I want to talk to you about pastor and wife. Pastor and wife. The really the power behind the throne is the dear wife. God bless these dear pastors' wives, but they deserve the medals. They deserve monetary gifts. They to put up with men like me and others, and that are so aggressive and out there all the time and going. And 67 years I've been saved. 58 of those years, my wife and I were married, and 52 of those years in the ministry. So you could say that the majority of my life with my wife was ministry immersed. And she was right there, right? I bless her heart. I worked for General Motors after leaving Michigan State as a cost accountant. I worked for them for 7 years. We built a brand new 2-story colonial home, brand new. We laid it out, designed it, and built it. And oh, we loved it. It was a dream. And then I went to a sword conference, and oh, all of a sudden my world turned right side up. And so I came home and told her what God had done, and to her it was fine. Whatever God's leading you to do, I'll be right there beside you. And sure enough, we sold that beautiful home. It was beautiful, and loaded everything we had had 2 cars and loaded everything on a U-Haul truck. And my kids thought they were just going for a trip. They thought they'd be back by sundown. And we moved to Gary, Indiana, beautiful Gary, Indiana. We were the only white people in Gary, in that part of Gary, Indiana. But we had great neighbors and a great time. I worked in a steel mill. My wife worked midnights as a nurse. She'd already graduated from college, and it was tough. It was, but she was right there with me. I remember coming up after starting attending college at Hiles Anderson, went to school and sat through chapel and did my noon class that I had done at 1. I came home. I was excited. Oh man, I was thrilled. And I walked in the back door of Vermont Court where we were living, and she's washing dishes, and I said, "Wow, it was tremendous." And she went like, "Well, I'm glad somebody's enjoying themselves." And I said, "Oh, this ain't gonna work." So I got a college girl to come over and babysit. And I took my wife to school with me, went to college with me. And she sat there through chapel, loved it. She loved it. We loved Brother Hiles, and Dr. Evans was her favorite. And so we sat there, and then I had to go to my class, my noon class, to get out at 1. And so she walked back where the ladies were, Mrs. Evans and those ladies, and said, can I help in some way? While I'm here for an hour, can I help? And so she did. Then after a while, Dr. Hiles called her to the office at the church and said, "I want you to go by an interview for Dr. Evans' secretarial position." And she did. She got it. Oh, she loved Dr. Evans. Dr. Evans was 10 years older than her, but oh, it was wonderful. It was just wonderful. My wife would take her lunch break, half of it, and go hear Dr. Evans teach on history. And so anyway, that's a little bit of our history. My dear wife, December 29th, 6:30 at night, breathed her last breath and stepped into eternity. No pain, no heartache, no more surgeries. 50 surgeries since 1980, if you can imagine. I miss my bride. I miss her. She was so funny. She was so tough. What a mixture. Just what a great mother. I sometimes said my wife as a mother was a combination of Hitler and Mussolini. Her kids didn't get away with anything. They would say, of course, our kids are all serving the Lord. They may all get drunk next weekend, but so far they're serving the Lord. 2 boys are pastors, and And she said to me, or somebody said to me, I said, how'd you get those kids to turn out right? And I said, it was her. She did it. I didn't do it. It was on her watch. I was gone all the time. But what a marvelous job she did. Okay, enough of that. Enough of that. I'll write a book about it later on. But pastor and wife, all right, are you ready? Number one, be her best friend. Be her best friend. Nobody in your world ought to be a better friend than your wife. You be her best friend. Number two, treat her like a queen. Treat her like a queen. 24/7, being a wife and a mother is 24/7. Treat her like a queen. Number three, give her the best vehicle. We always had two vehicles. I gave her the best one, wanted her to have the best one. She deserved it. What a great, great lady. And her, my mama are having a great time in heaven. My mama was more of a mama to her than her own mama. Not that her mother could help because she had multiple sclerosis, blind, in a wheelchair. And my wife really was the only child. And so she took care as a teenager, as a young lady, had a lot of character and took care of her mother. And what a great testimony. Okay, we're talking about pastor and wife. Number one, be her best friend. Number two, and by the way, no kid ought to have some other kid to be their best friend. A daughter, their mother ought to be the best friend. To a boy, dad ought to be the best friend. All right. Number one, be her best friend. Number two, treat her like a queen. Number three, give her the best vehicle. Number four, give her weekly household money that she can depend on. Oh, you preachers, I'll come back there and slap the whole bunch of you. You give her the leftovers. Don't do that. Just as sure as you give a tithe and offering to the Lord to show your love and obedience to him, you ought to show her your love and obedience, but you ought to show her your love by giving her a household. My wife had a household amount. Now you're going to laugh at this, but our first house was I think it was $7,400 we paid for our first house. It's back when Abraham Lincoln was president. But she, back in those days, had $20 a week for our household. We didn't have any kids, but $20 a week. And she stretched that $20. Yeah, that was that's 1965, 1966, a long time ago. But she stretched it. And they used to have a contest where if you could answer a certain question, somebody knocked at your door, they'd give you money. Well, back in those days, it was a radio station offered $20. If somebody knocked at your door from the radio station, I don't even know what the question was, but ask a question. If you answered it, you got $20. And she was praying. She told me this later. She was praying for $20, praying for $20. Back then, it was a lot of money. And so sure enough, I was at work. I was at the office. And sure enough, somebody rang the doorbell from that radio station, asked her a question. She knew the answer. And she got a $20 bill. She was so excited when I got home. She showed it to me. Talking about pastor and wife, be her best friend, treat her like a queen, give her the best vehicle, give her weekly household money she can depend on. Number five, you see, you pastors, you give your money away. I know. I mean, so and so needs help. So and so needs help. You reach in your pocket and give it away. Don't give her money away. It's not your money. It's her money. And you go home and she says, "Honey, do you have that $50 for groceries?" And well, and she said, "Oh, you gave it to another bum. That's what you did." Yeah, it's her money. You have no right to spend the electric company's money. You have no right to give away the car payment money, and you have no right to give away her household money. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. You're asking for trouble. So, pastor and wife, number one, be her best friend. Treat her like a queen. Give her the best vehicle. Number four, give her weekly household money that she can depend on. Number five, let the house be her domain. She can do anything she wants to with that house. She decides to put the sofa in front of the front door when I come in, that's fine with me. My wife would move this, change this. She's constantly changing the furniture. Now, which is fine with me. I really don't care. Men don't really care. Good grief. A roof over our head, that's all we care about. I remember coming home. Dr. Howard Hall in Shreveport and I used to travel every week in the architects area. And I came home 2 o'clock in the morning. That's about the time Dr. Hall and I would get back into town, drop him off in Shreveport, and then go home. And my wife, I went in, I didn't turn the light on. I didn't want to wake her up. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. I went over and I'd take my watch off, take my rings off, reach in my pocket, get the change out and whatever it is. And I would unbuckle my pants, take my pants off, and lean on the chest of drawers. That night I leaned and it wasn't there. And I'm laying flat on the floor. She turns the light on. She changed everything in the living bedroom. And she looked at me and she said, "Oh, drunk again." She had a great sense of humor. So give her weekly household money she can depend on. Let the house be her domain. Never discuss members of a church in a critical vein. Never. I don't care. Now, if there's a big battle brewing, don't be afraid to tell her about it. She needs to know about it rather than get blindsided. But there's going to be trouble at this, that, and the other. It just don't amount to anything. And so never discuss members of a critical vein. I don't care. If they holler at you in the hallway, you don't, they're having a bad day. Okay, they take it out on you. Okay, well, you're the pastor, take it. But don't go home and share that with your wife because people have bad days. So don't do that. Sometimes my wife, I tell you, I just didn't like the way your husband said, and she would always say, "Well, it's down the hallway and to the right, name's on the door." She didn't get involved in it. Didn't have to. She didn't have to. I told her, "You don't have to defend me. You don't have to. I can do a good job of that. Just don't feel like you have to. You don't have to defend me." So we're talking about pastor and wife. And one, be her best friend, treat her like a queen, give her the best vehicle. You folks aren't listening fast today. Give her weekly household money for her that she can depend on. Let the house be her domain. Never discuss members in a critical vein. Learn how to divert conversation going the wrong direction. We used this little game we'd play. And it looked like the conversation was drifting like it shouldn't drift in a critical vein. I would say, "Do you think it's going to rain today?" She'd say, "It's December. It's supposed to snow. What are you?" But she knew. And she'd do the same thing with me when she saw conversation drifting. And I'm glad. I'm glad. Next, pray together. Next, win souls together. Next, visit together. The last point, help her with household duties. I did the laundry. Aren't you proud of me? Yeah. Now, first time I did laundry, I put all it in, washed it, and it came out, my underwear came out pink. And I said to her, "What did I do wrong?" She said, you didn't separate the colored and the white. You didn't separate it. That's what you get." I said, "What am I going to do with pink underwear?" She said, "You're going to wear it. That's what you." No, I'm not either. So I said, number one, be her best friend. Number two, give her the best, or treat her like a queen. Number three, give her the best vehicle. Next, give her weekly household money she can depend on now. Let the house be her domain. Never discuss members in a critical vein. Never, 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 never. Because they're going to need her help one day. Don't shade it. Next, learn how to divert conversation going the wrong direction. Learn how to do it. Pray together. Never left the house without praying with my wife. Never, 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 never. I held her in my arms as she breathed her last breath and stepped into eternity. Kids will tell you they were there. And my wife and I'd kiss her and she kissed me back and just went on and on. Then she slipped away and went to heaven. And I miss her. I miss her. Pray together, win souls together, visit together, and help her with household duties, vacuum, do the dishes, help her. Now, when we were pastoring in Illinois and her health was good, I don't know how many Catholics she led to Christ. She had a Catholic background. And sometimes we'd be out soul winning and we'd get stumped a little bit talking to a Catholic person. And she'd go right to John chapter 3. She'd talk about being born again. She knew how to do it, and she was tremendous at it. In fact, one of the best deacons I had up north was a very professional, highly professional man for Burroughs Corporation. She led him and wife to Christ. They're Catholic, and they became very faithful members. God bless you. Soul winning tomorrow, boys and girls. So make sure that you are where you should be. And thank you for joining me today. I hope it was a blessing. I hope you learned something and you can play it over and over again. I think it'll be a help to you. I hope it is anyway. God bless you. Love you. Have a great soul winning day tomorrow.